The dawn of civilization. Primitive. Dangerous. Exciting. The handwriting is on the wall. If the human race is ever going to amount to anything, it needs
the most civilized caveman I have ever seen.
Look who's come out of his cave.
Hi everyone, this is James from the Cave Dweller Music Podcast. Great to have a new guest on the show. This is Ben from the UK band Droner. Thank you so much for coming on. Great to have you.
Hey, no worries. No, really, thanks for bringing me on, man. And really happy to come along and talk about Droner and the band. It is just me today. I haven't got everyone else with me. It's 4:00 on Saturday afternoon here in sunny England. So yeah, it was hard to pull everyone together for a radio call, unfortunately. But I'll do my best to speak for the guys as well.
We totally understand it. It's hard to corral musicians.
It really is.
So your band, the style obviously described as sludge, doom, grunge, blend. What would you say that you play?
I mean, I like to just think we play our own thing. Like, it's really hard to define, because we started off being like, maybe we're a doom band, right? Because we're slowing everything down, we're keeping it simple, we're leaning more towards massive amounts of fuzz and noise rather than kind of clarity in tone. Yeah, and then from there, I think the songwriting is definitely not evolved, because you try and keep that as simple as possible, right? So yeah, I guess sludge is probably the best way to describe us. We're a sludge band, but a sludge band without limits. You know what I mean? We're not afraid to go past 100 beats a minute or whatever, as long as it's right for the song.
Yeah, it's really interesting the way you guys sound. Honestly, you could tell that there's a grunge bass in the songwriting, but then the actual sound of the music is very, you're right, very sludgy.
Yeah.
You got those drone elements, and then honestly, it might not be intentional, but it almost starts to warp around to the point that it feels a bit like noise rock at times as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's to do with our tuning, right? So we started off, especially doing covers and stuff like that. I think we downtuned with 7 strings, to drop A, but then that left bass being quite high. And then we had a 5-string bass, but then that dropped down to A as well. That sounded just really bad. I don't know if it was his strings or whatever, but it just wasn't working for us. So we switched it round. So now we both play baritones. So we've got a couple of 6 strings that are tuned to baritone, and then an 8-string that's tuned baritone as well. But that's tuned in, what would it be? F standard, and then we drop the E. So essentially that lowest note that you're playing on your guitar is the same note as the bass now. So that's where you get that kind of horrible wall of sound, and sort of very where you start to lose perception of it, because the note's so low and so merged with the backing sound as well. It just comes out as just raw sludge at you, which I quite like, man. You know what I mean? I don't think many people are will just do the same again, pedaling through and stuff like that. It's our bassist wasn't happy. He was like, check this out, I can do this really cool thing. And I'm like, yeah, but what we need you to do is just play the same as the guitar, but less. It's hard for people to get their head round, but I think that really gives it a much solid, more feel to your writing, that every note's important, even if it's just noise.
I imagine you guys are just save it for a side project. Keep that.
Yeah, exactly. We go through a lot of songwriting as well, which is funny because there's a few of us. I think everyone actually is happy to write songs. Terry in particular, because he comes up with all these great riffs. He's a way better guitarist than me, and he wasn't really used to playing downtube before. So now he's picked it up. He's coming back and he's like, "Dude, check out this riff. Check out what I can do." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's not really about." It's more about what we can't do, to be honest, mate. So, but then some of those things I've been like, that's great. Let's slow it down. Let's slow it down again. Can you slow it down again until it's almost uncomfortable to play? And then that's cool. That works for Droner,
Yeah.
Perfect.
So, yeah. There's a lot of back and forth.
You guys are that perfect culmination of Electric Wizard and Nirvana. It's you give people a perspective of the sound if they haven't heard it yet. But
for sure.
Good,
I think you have to listen to it as well, to be honest, to really get a feel for it, because
of course
there's a lot of bands who do kind of similar speed music, or there's a lot of bands who kind of have, I guess, like similar lyricists and stuff like that. But I don't think there's anyone who's doing sort of sludge at that kind of low level at the moment.
Yeah.
Not that I've heard. I mean, even the whole like 8-string and down tuning, you'll hear it in like really heavy metal and like power metal and stuff like that. People are doing really technical stuff. But they'll only tend to like smack that low string once or twice as part of a riff. It might get played a little bit, but it won't get played as a chord because that sounds horrible. Whereas we're just like, fuck it, man, play it as a chord. It sounds horrible. That's awesome. Yeah.
I think it is. You guys have that abrasiveness. It's like it is. It kind of gets on your brain a little bit after you listen to it because it is that repetitive droning sound. I like that. I love it. That's what draws me into your music.
Yeah. It's like perfect for smoking too. You know what I mean? You just sit in your rocking chair and you're like, all right, let's go.
I mean, that's one of our like main influence. No, I'm kidding. Not main influence. But everyone in the band smokes weed, man. And actually, it's been awkward when we try to replace people and been like, do you smoke a bunch of weed? And they're like, nah, not really. I'm like, shit, man, you're gonna fucking hate rehearsals, bro. Your rehearsal's gonna be horrible because 90% of it is us talking about what song we're working on and smoking weed. But
I know, obviously, it's not compulsory to smoke weed in the stoner scene, but it does help. I think it does help.
Yeah. It's not even legal in the UK, but for sure, I think like definitely in terms of like songwriting and stuff like that. Again, it's easy. Well, if you get like real mashed, if you're really, really high, everything's going to slow down a little bit as well. Drummers going to stop complaining about making things more complicated. Do you know what I mean? Everyone just gets on that same level and blasts it through. But like I say, that kind of wall of sound as well, man. So like we'll all be stood basically in front of the amps for our own respective instruments, just fucking blasting ourselves in the face.
Yeah.
And then vocals tend to come after as well because like there's so much fucking noise, especially from the amps and stuff like that, because everything's cranked up. If you stop playing, there's going to be so much buzz, you might not be able to hear another instrument. It's that sort of level of noise, multiple levels of distortion and stuff like that. We'll do the track and then do the vocals after generally. And like I say, that's when we try and do everything if we can in one take, which doesn't always go to plan, but...
But I mean, you and I were talking about this before we started recording, that part of your whole aesthetic is that you don't want it to be perfect.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think like it's easy to produce stuff to a level that like will make you sound like everyone else, which is great. Do you know what I mean? If you want to get like, I guess, more radio play or, those kind of things, then you want to have that sound that's like commercialized almost to a degree, and you want to do as much as you can to produce that track, to make every note perfect and that kind of thing. But I think you lose a lot in that, and particularly with bands where it is very sludgy, very down and stuff like that. I think the rawer you can keep it and the more natural, the more honest it's going to sound. So like, I'm not the best vocalist in the world. Like, like sometimes on our guitar, so we'll do double takes on each guitar, but you're playing a whole song through. You're probably going to not manage to time out both of your takes exactly perfect, right? You could fix it so easily, just straight in the Pro Tools, snap, done. But we don't want any of that done, no pitch shifting on the vocals or anything. Just try and keep it as raw as possible. And I think that like, and like you said, like, with bands who did do that previously, if you listen to like Nirvana, Bleach, like a lot of that was done in one take, particularly vocals and stuff like that. And a lot of bands that we grew up on, like in the 90s and stuff like that, they didn't have those tools. So we're trying to aim at that kind of rawness if we can, without giving it any additional polish. Right.
And I think like that sort of take, like the recording style, the imperfections is what made a lot of 90s music have that raw edge to it. You look at like early 90s death metal, you look at noise rock, all that stuff. It just feels so natural and raw.
And then go and see a modern metal band. Like I'm a massive fan of Korn. I've always been a fan of Korn. Got their first album.
Yes, thank you.
Like I still listen to them all the time now. Like they're definitely an influence, especially if you listen to like some of the tracks where there's some like sort of power metal-y riffs and stuff. You're like, you can hear the Korn influence. Obviously we're so much scruffier, it doesn't really sort of translate as well. But I've seen live a bunch of times as well, and like you see them live and like they're awesome, but at the same time you're like, hang on a minute, like you're not actually playing everything that appeared on the album. So although you sound massive, you actually don't sound as like as not as polished, man. But I don't know. There's almost something missing when you're playing live because you don't have all that extra stuff. You know, there isn't 10 Jonathan Davises on stage backing himself up screaming. So actually, when you're there at the time, you're going to perform under. Whereas I'd like to do it the other way around, like all that noise and shit that we're doing in the studio, we'll just give that to a crowd. Do you know what I mean? I'm not afraid to blow people's ears off with feedback and stuff.
Well, what's nice is that when you listen to an album and then you go see a band live and it sounds like the same, you know what I mean? You're like, there's not a major difference between the studio album and seeing them live, and like it just makes even more of a connection between the listener and then seeing you guys, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And that's actually why we're a 4-piece, not a 3-piece, because for the first demo, I did like the majority of the guitar and stuff like that, and then Terry did like the odd solo, where I kind of really suck at, to be honest. Not my gig man. I'm a rhythm guy, you know. I'm a songwriter, but we could get away with like doing most of that just without solos and stuff like that. You know, a lot of the extra guitar was just put on for maybe just a bit of added feel. But moving forward, it's like, no, we definitely need to be a 4-piece, even if most of the set, like I'll do a little bit and I'll be like, right, I don't need this guitar for like 4 minutes now. Do you know what I mean? But that's fine. Like when it comes to that 4-minute mark in the song, suddenly half of our instruments don't drop out because I'm doing something different, or, you know, because Terry needs to play something more complicated. So I think it's important to have that as well. Like, even if we don't use it always to beef up our sound, you know, is to give that, like, to make sure we can reproduce everything live, which I think is always important.
Yeah, 100%.
Jumping back real quick to the Korn thing, because I don't get many guests who openly admit loving them, because I love them too.
Korn, but it's stuck in my teeth.
He does this joke every time. What's your take on Issues? Because that's personally like one of my favorite Korn albums. A lot of people overlook it. I
really like Issues. I think it's got some great tracks on there. Like for me, like Life is Peachy for sure, just because of how raw that album is. And actually, do you know what I mean? When I'm talking about how the recording process and stuff like that, again, like, you know, if we could, I mean, we would try and get that recorded sound if we can, because that sounds really raw and ready. Do you know what I mean? And it feels like it feels like every song they do there, you could record live and they could play through pretty easily, you know. And I think that really translates. So, but like, yeah, I do like Issues, but then I think, like, again, that's where they kind of step into that sort of more, I don't want to say radio friendly, because, you know, Korn ain't a radio band, right? But certainly more of that kind of commercial sound, if you will.
Yeah. I think that one on the album after, they started working in like some subtle like psychedelic elements. You can kind of hear in the production. It's like his vocals a little more layered and echoing. There's some trippy effects on the guitars and all that stuff. But you're right. Cool, they took away a little bit of the aggression and they worked in a little more groove. But I think of that sound, that's their best album. And then I love the first 3. Obviously, it's all good.
I love them all, though, to be fair, man. I think the only one that I don't really get on with oh god, what's the one with Skrillex? Is it Half the Tone?
I was not on that one either.
I'm not really a big dubstep guy, man, and I really wanted to love it. I really wanted to, but I just
that was tough.
Like I can't remember what the lead track was, but that was kind of okay. I listened to that, but then the whole album of it, that started getting a little bit rough. Do you know what I mean? But at least it was interesting, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's I think like that's a good thing about Korn. You always get something interesting, right, and something different.
Right. They've never been like, the one thing I've always appreciated about them is they've done whatever they wanted and not really cared what anyone thought about it. They've never stuck to one sound or one style. They've always just experimented and played with their sound.
You'll want a single. Fuck that.
Exactly. So you had an album come out in March, and then I know you have something coming up soon too. Do you want to talk us through like the new music?
Yeah, sure. So we did the album after the demo. So basically, the demo was kind of like, can we do this? Is recording going to be worth it? Can we even get everyone together to do it, kind of thing? You know, can we do some of it remotely as well? Which has been helpful, particularly with like drums and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Because like, if we need to record a drum track or redo a bit, then the dudes can do it at home. Do you know what I mean? Rather than come all the way to my town, or we'll meet halfway in between. Again, we're kind of dotted around a little bit. But that sounded like good, and it was like viable, man. So we were like, let's write an album. Let's actually try and do some more original material, that kind of stuff. Bring our ethos together a little bit more, like what is Drona? What do we do here? All that kind of thing. And then we set off to write the album, and that was way popular than I'd expected, to be honest. This was just kind of a side project, like I say side project, it's my only project at the moment, but it was just something I was like, do you know what? Like, I just fancy, I think we could do this collectively. But also I know I could get the guys on board with like some kind of really heavy sound, maybe something that they've not played before. And yeah, the reception was great, man. I didn't expect it at all. We had like loads of people get on board. We had some great feedback on it. We had like quite a lot of sales on Bandcamp as well, which was like our primary way of getting it out there. We had it pressed on like a limited vinyl run. So
you sold out of it.
Yeah. So that was like vinyl on demand. I'm not going to lie, man. Like we didn't, not only did we not make any money, that was so much hassle. It was unbelievable because it's vinyl on demand. So every time someone asked for a copy, I had to get it printed, get it delivered here, send it out again. Do you know what I mean?
Would you not do it that way again?
So how long did that take to fulfill?
To fulfill each order, shit, man. Some of them maybe like. And apologies to anyone listening if you ordered a vinyl and it took like about 2 weeks to get to you. Yeah, because sometimes that's what it took. Because obviously they got to print it as well, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm doing like random things. So instead of going, I need like 20, I need 30, etc., I was like, can I have one? Can I have another one? Can I have another one? And they were, which like the company that you're working for, they weren't necessarily a fan of that either. And they were pissed at me because they were like, you could have saved yourself some money. I'm like, I know. I didn't know. We didn't know how well we were going to sell, and it was expensive doing, man. So yeah, like we sold out of those, and that worked really well. So I was like, we've got to follow up, man. And I think this time put like, I don't want to say more effort into it, but certainly around the recording, like, most of that was done in-house basically before, which was all cool, but I don't think it was like good enough quality, if I'm going to be brutally honest, like in terms of like just making it listenable at high levels. Like I know if I cranked that, like our first album in my car, that sounded like a bit offish almost. So this is like an evolution of that, really, in terms of like upgrading a couple of bits of kit, particularly recording equipment. We don't give a shit about our guitars. Yeah, they can be cheap. The cheaper the better, right? In terms of instruments, if it makes noise by itself, you're onto a winner. If it's just producing its own feedback, then we love that. That's a Drona instrument, right? But particularly on like mics and stuff like that, and getting an actual producer in. The last guy was okay, but like someone who knows what they're doing in terms of not clipping and all that kind of stuff. And then follow up while the iron's hot, almost. So while people are still talking about Salt, getting an EP together in front of a next album, because like a lot of people asking, like, cool, so when's the next album and stuff like that? And we're like, well, we don't know, but it'd be good to get the hype train going a little bit, and kind of keep that buzz going. So the EP that's coming out on 5th of September, Herbicide, kind of almost a stand-in. So there's a couple of tracks that are going to appear on the album. That'll be out at some point next year. Nice. And then the rest of it's just like literally for that EP. So I think there's an album outtake on there. We've got an extra track, which we were like, maybe not album material because it's a bit fast, but like that would make a good B-side, So and some of those will be exclusive to the EP as well, but also exclusive to a cassette release what we've got. So there's kind of a few ways to get it, but only like one or two true ways to experience the whole EP before we cut everyone off until we get something out next year.
That's definitely sweet. With
Oh, sorry. Oh, go ahead. I was just going to ask you, Brendan, do you want to tell the audience how you discovered Drona?
Oh, yeah. So I was going through social medias, and the Weedian had posted this meme of it was like a dude holding a leash, and it had like this like chick with just on her all fours and just like totally like obeying and worshiping this dude holding the leash. Yeah. And it was like my monthly playlist, and it was like bands with like 7 followers. And so all these bands were piping in. They're like, like, I've got 2 followers. I've got 5 followers. You guys have followers. Like so. I started looking at all the bands that were posting, and they're all good, and that's how I found you guys. You guys had commented on there, and I was just like, you know what? Let's make them 8 followers. Like, why not?
Yeah. No, Whedon's really good, man. Like, I was lucky to work with him because it's difficult just trying to get yourself out there on Bandcamp. Like I said, like local scene, it's really difficult to like get actual fans here, like where we're situated. So things like Whedon, like YouTube channels and stuff like that, Mr. Doom, everyone who supported us on like that first album, I think that really helped get the word out there and actually like, sell it to people. And I'm a big fan as well. Yeah. So like I've discovered loads of great bands on Whedon's channel. Yeah. Because like there's just album after album on there to a degree, and like
it's amazing.
Loads of bands you'll never hear of, or like maybe they'll just release one album. No one knows who these people are as well. It's really weird. So like you look at the details and it'll just be like, there's this band, they released this album. You're like, where's it available from? I can only find it here. It doesn't exist in England. And you listen to it and you're like, man, these guys are fucking great. Like,
I absolutely love it, especially for that aspect. Like, it's just how I find, new music or this and that, because it's either like some friends or I have to do digging, you know what I mean? And I don't mind digging. So it's great because then I find gems like your band. It's like it's awesome. It's awesome to see or hear.
I felt really bad for Weedy losing that account. I think it was their Instagram that got hacked. To start the entire thing over.
Yeah, I think he's been through a few different ones. To be fair, the problem is as well. I mean, like the name doesn't help because it's Weeding, and it's a straight away. They're like, "Oh, should we put the ban hammer on them?" YouTube 18 plus, etc. And then over here, we've just recently got some laws in that make it like super restrictive to access what they call adult material. But over in England, that means music as well. Yeah. So any music that has any perceived like bad language or threatening themes as well, right? So it's not just necessarily bad language. Like can we now play like ITP, things like that, as like horror punk or whatever? Do you know what I mean? Like, or is that now banned for kids? And I think that's kind of fucked up, man.
You know what I mean? Completely.
Yeah. I mean,
massive censorship.
Yeah, art is art, and I think there's like something different there. Like, absolutely, like kids should be banned from like being able to like read pornography or like buy hard drugs or whatever. But on the same token, like they should be able to experience art. And if that art's got swearing in, or if that painting's got nudity in, or that photo or whatever, well, you have to kind of appreciate it for what it is, rather than censor it and go, "Well, you're too young to appreciate it." Because that's not really fair.
Yeah.
And how does that prepare people as well? Do you know what I mean? Like for when they are adults, it makes no sense.
There's actually a Black Mirror episode about that. I'm not sure if you've seen it, about child. Yeah, it's the one. If you haven't seen it, there's this one where there's a censorship chip you can put in your child's brain that stops them from seeing or experiencing anything inappropriate or unpleasant at all. It just blurs it out. And this kid like finally starts experiencing like messed up shit, and it just breaks them because they've never seen like anything bad or upsetting ever.
Yeah,
and then you like look around and you see society is just fucked, and then I haven't seen the episode, but I can imagine. I like Black Mirror. I got to catch up on them.
I haven't liked the latest season as much, but it's still been pretty consistent.
Yeah.
It's a British writer as well, man. Charlie Brooker. He's quite famous in the UK.
Mm-hmm. Is it solely him now? Because I know they've done like some American episodes and some UK episodes. Is it him and someone else, or is it just him still?
I think he's still lead producing. I don't know if he's writing them all.
Okay. Because some of them definitely feel like his style from like the earlier episodes and stuff, and then some of it feels like someone else.
Yeah, for sure. I can't imagine like he does most of like, because some of them are like quite heavily animated and stuff like that, aren't they? I can't imagine he gets too involved in any of those.
Yeah, any of that stuff. Speaking of content, so I was very surprised by that law passing in the UK. That really caught me off guard. I thought the UK was, to some extent, still pretty open-minded and progressive, but I guess not.
No, it's a bit of a knee-jerk reaction, to be honest. And there's petitions, like we get online petitions where you can literally like register against the government, and if they get over 100,000 things, they're supposed to discuss it in our parliament. So like your government equivalent, and everyone signed the petition. You know, well over 500,000 people. So you know, 5 times what their minimum thing was, and they refused to talk about it in parliament. And we're like, shit, man, who are you guys working for? Because it's not us, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, like, what the fuck's that about? So, yeah, that's really, messed up, man. Messed up.
So, yeah, I get another letter about how they didn't do that. And then, you know.
There's a million people, and they'll ignore that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't... The point, I don't understand the point of censoring stuff, honestly, because like we're a global nation now. You know, it's not, if you go on the internet, like if you're a site based in England, you have to do that kind of stuff, or maybe you're in the EU, you have to follow the EU regulation. But if you're in other bits of Europe, it doesn't matter. So the rest of it's unregulated and cannot be regulated because it's the internet. So what's the point?
Right. And then VPNs exist. Anyone can just use a VPN at any time and just go around all of it. So
exactly. VPNs are super popular nowadays. So, you know, it's not uncommon for most people to have one, to be fair.
Yeah, it's not that expensive. It's like whatever, like under $100 a year or something. People can just get a VPN.
Yeah, man. I got one so we can watch South Park, because you can't get that over here. It's on Paramount. So, yeah.
What?
Have you watched the 2 latest episodes?
No, I haven't yet. No.
I've seen little things.
It's wild.
But I haven't watched it yet. I still haven't even watched the Trump episode yet. I need to.
That's the one, the most recent one that I watched, man. It's so funny. So funny.
Wild. The newest one was about Mr. Mackey joining ICE.
Nice.
Back to music for a second. What have you guys been listening to at the moment? Like, I know, like, you always take influence from a lot of different stuff, but what's been a regular rotation for you guys?
You know what? Like recently, because I've had family over for like a couple of weeks, we've done like lots of car journeys, so I can't like, you know, just spin through a metal playlist on YouTube or something like that. It's had to keep it a little bit clean. So I've been listening to like loads of 80s music, man, recently. I really like Tears for Fears. Nice. So I don't know if you guys have ever... nice. James has heard of them. You know, again, like super 80s band and stuff like that. They had like a few really big hits over here when I was like a kid. So like I've been like playing through whole albums, stuff like that. I was listening to some Genesis. Like post Peter Gabriel Genesis with like Phil Collins and that. Man, a lot of random stuff. I've discovered some cool bands as well. Like I've recently listened to Wire, who I'd never heard of before. I guess they were big in the States. And they had like they're like before I was born, they had like a good album. I can't remember what it's called now. That was in like 78 or something like that. And that's almost like post-punk, but they're really cool. So I thought like, add them to my playlist.
Brendan, do you know them? I haven't heard of them.
What was it? The Wire?
Yeah, just Wire is what they're called.
Wire?
I'm going to check that out.
A-Wire lately. Good hardcore. Good old hardcore.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great bands that are from that era, 70s and 80s, that did so much stuff. And then some of them that you like when you hear it, or like sometimes like when I hear it, I'm like, wait, I thought that was a different band, and it's not, you know, and it's like, it's cool. It's funny to hear.
I was having a conversation online with someone the other day in a comment section, which I try not to do, but every now and then it happens. But this was a good one. The guy was saying that the 80s is this like halo effect where everyone says, oh my God, the 80s was like the last good music. Everything in the 80s was so good. But there's a lot of genuinely awful 80s music out there. The difference is that no one talks about it, and it just fades to obscurity, and the good stuff floats to the surface. But I've heard some atrocious music from the 80s.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. So like over here, we've got like our national TV service, the BBC, and they do like so they've had like music shows running since the 60s, I think, and then 60s, 70s, 70s to 80s. So they're all different shows, but they show them all as archives. So like it's awesome. Like I might like sit down and like listen to. So Grey Whistle Test is cool because back in the 70s they basically had to do everything live, right? So you'd actually go and like you can literally just watch bands play live, play through their songs and that. really cool, man. I've heard some really good acts from like that back then. I would never heard of if I hadn't watched them on TV. And then the same for the 80s as well. But they've got like Top of the Pops, which is the charts.
Yeah, I remember that.
And you listen to that, man, and like you might recognize one song, and the rest of it, you're like, what the fuck is that, man? That was genuinely awful. It's all like, you know, bubblegum pop and like novelty hits. They used to have so many novelty hits in the 80s and 90s. It was untrue. And like, people were buying that shit. They were lapping it up, man. Like,
right. My wife put on some 80s playlist in the car when I was driving the other day, and I was like, what the hell are we listening to? Like, what is this? And then it's like shit track after shit track after shit track. I was like, can we put like an 80s playlist where I've heard like one of the songs on? Like, this is so bad.
I like some like good, like, oh man, so many like bands like the 80s synthwave stuff.
That's so solid.
Like, I like that. I could go for those, you know.
Yeah, it's just like the thing that I noticed with the 80s is like it got a little lazy with like a bare minimum that was required to make a song, because you could just get one of those electric like keyboards and just put like a loop track on, and then that would be like the bass rhythm for the track, and then have some dude with like an average voice kind of doing some silly talking over it, and you're like, okay, that's an 80s radio like hit.
Yeah. I mean, like, especially Birth of the Synthesizer and stuff like that. I think it ruined a lot of like guitar heavy bands and stuff. You listen to like Van Halen in the 70s. There's like, you know, there was no sign of like much of a synthesizer and stuff like that. Into the 80s and into the 90s, you're like, are they a guitar band? Because same with Springsteen, actually, right? Same Bruce Springsteen. You listen to his stuff in like the late, like, you know, early 90s, pushing into like late 90s. Actually, even it's like this is all sampled music. You know, like his drum sampled, like, you know, there'll be some guitar in there, but it's mostly like synths and stuff like that. I'm like, why aren't you like a famous guitar god, dude? Like King of Rock or something? Like what? And that used to really throw me, actually, when I was growing up. You'd hear all like these bands being like, you know, oh yeah, they're like super heavy rock and stuff, and then you just come on the track and you can hear the synthesizers and stuff, and I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, it's like the Van Hagar split kind of like seal the deal with the synth stuff.
Brendan,
for sure. Kind of coming up to the last part, like last 15 minutes of the show, did you want to ask those questions you love to ask?
Sure. So who inspired you to pick up a guitar and play?
I mean, like, actually probably getting out of a different kind of music. So I've always played, right? I've always played guitar. You know, as soon as I thought I could get one, I've just like, it's always been something that's almost been like a romanticized thing for me. Like, you know, some people think a car is like the coolest thing in the universe. Yeah, do you know what I mean? And having that a specific car, that thing is just cool for me. I don't know why. I just really like that thing. I've always had that with guitars, man. And like, always grew up kind of listening to, like, enjoying music and stuff like that. Like, to be honest, man, like my early influences, like if I can think about the first 2 albums that I bought, and this is when I must have been about 7 years old. I remember like my grandma gave me some like vouchers for like it was like a bookstore, but they sold music as well. And I was like, straight away, I'm going to skip the books, man. I'm going to go and get some CDs. And I had Nirvana Bleach, which, you know exactly what Bleach is, right? And then the Shaman, no, it wasn't the Shaman, sorry. It was the Prodigy. The Prodigy Experience, which was like released around that time. So nice, yeah. Thanks, James. I'm glad I'm getting some feedback there you recognise. And I've always liked both, yeah. So I've like been into guitar music and stuff like that. But then I also like sample music. So I spent a lot of time DJing. I did a lot of drum and bass back through the 90s. I was in a guitar for a little bit around in a band in a little bit around 2000. We just like did odd gigs as like a university thing, man, you know. We mostly just pissed around. And then when I finished that, I started producing back in this town, doing like dubstep for a while, which, I know, right? Maybe not a good decision. Exactly. And then and then post that, I like had a kid, stopped writing for a little while, and I was like, you know what, I really miss that in my life. You know, I miss writing. I've always playing guitar, so like I've got one in almost every room, and my other half hates it, man, my wife. So like I'll be wherever I am, I'll just like pick up a guitar and start playing. I was like, you know what? I've written loads of songs. I've never actually taken the time to sit down and record some guitar. You know, I've done all sorts of different music and stuff like that. But maybe this would be a good idea. And then I started trying to put a band together, you know, and was lucky enough to know someone who already was happy to play bass. To be fair, he's a guitarist, but now he's a bassist. Managed to get our drummer kind of does it as a favor, because, like, I've got to say, man, I have talent in the band. He's probably the most talented, and he's not the songwriter, but he's a really established drummer, you know. He'll do like session and stuff like that. So he's good enough to play in the big leagues, and he plays shit for us.
Nice. That's awesome.
Because I know him. Because I know him, and he's my buddy, kind of thing. And like I said, man, we started with that demo album. Just thought we'd see how that would go. You know, I kind of mostly led that project, but then following that, I think the guys kind of got into it and was like, do you know what, actually, this is pretty cool. You know, we'll come and play with Ben and see what he's got to write. And then they started contributing, and yeah, man, now we're pretty solid as a band.
Oh yeah, nice. Have you guys played live shows, or have you? Or
yeah, we've done a few. So I mean, we've only been around, like, we're playing as a band maybe a couple of years. Like, well, I mean, some of them are mates. Yeah, we've sort of played around before, and like mentioned, like, university and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there's only really one place in England. No, there's more places than one in England. There's only one place in the town where I live where there's like a decent venue, and everyone's kind of scattered around. So I'm based in Swindon, which is like about an hour and a half from London, which is where our drummer's based, and then our guitarist is based down in Bath. That's like another hour in a different direction. So we're kind of all dotted around. So it makes rehearsal and stuff a bit of a nightmare, but also means like it's a bit tricky to get gigs, because the guy in London, the people he knows aren't into that style of music. And like I say, he's kind of established doing other stuff over there. And over here, we've got one venue in my town. So we've done that a few times, but it's getting pretty boring, to be honest. We can't keep doing the same set, or, you know, rocking up and doing the same covers. So that was kind of our next step, to be fair, to like try and actually, hopefully off the back of the next album, then we'll have a good couple of albums of original material, and then that will give us enough to like have a really solid set and hopefully, like, you know, present ourselves that way. And if we're lucky with the album next year that we're working up to, maybe we'll get some kind of label support as well, which is what I'm hoping for. But we'll see, man, we'll see.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. When you guys do get together, do you guys like all like grab food together? Do you do that and then like go smoke, or like do you guys?
Yeah. Well,
what's the ritual there?
We have to make a day of it, man, you know, because not everyone's in the same town. So wherever we go, like normally everyone will drive, to be fair. You don't want to be like taking a train with like all your guitars and stuff like that. And no one else has got all the kit as well. So like, I've got enough guitars to make up for Terry if he doesn't want to bring his, but I don't have a spare drum kit. Do you know what I mean? And stuff like that. So like, we'll normally end up doing like a local studio around here that we'll use, or there was one in Bath, which isn't far down the road, cheaper than doing it in London, because that's like the capital city, so that's quite expensive. And like I say, man, we'll make a day of it. So we'll say like, come down early, we'll get breakfast together if anyone's hungry. I don't eat breakfast, I smoke it, so we'll do that.
Yeah, me too.
You gotta get those greens.
and then we'll get on the session and start kind of playing and practicing. But like, for the most part, we'll try and do as much in advance as we can, so like everyone will know the songs. You know, if we're showing each other new stuff, we might play it through, but like mostly when we're doing that, we're practicing to get ready for like the next recording, you know, and nailing what we're going to do next.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then like you say, like in terms of rituals, it's the same thing every time, man. There's a place. If we go to Bath, there's a place around the corner. It does nice like kebabs. I don't know how I can describe that to you. It's like a Turkish kebab, so not kind of like gyros, I guess. Gyros. Yeah, exactly, over there, man. So we'll do that, and then we'll get back in the studio and just play until like early evening, man, and everyone will have to go home.
Hell yeah.
I think kebabs are the non-sober man's best friend.
Yeah, for sure. It's good. It's everything a growing boy needs. It's got meat, it's got salad, it's got hot sauce.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I in my final year of high school, I was the meat guy at a kebab shop. So.
Oh yeah, nice.
Definitely awesome. So what when you guys do get to play live, what's your favorite song to play?
Oh, that's a tough one, man. I like Bite just because it's a bit like it's very power metal but very sludgy, and where it's so down tuned as well. It's like that's the lowest song I think that's played on like drop D1, so even detuning the bass as well for that. And I think that kind of gets the message across really quickly because it's because it's not one where we've got like a long build up. We're not really into like big intros and stuff like that anyway. You know, I'm not doing a stadium finish at the end, but certainly like it just drops into it really nicely. And because it's like kind of power metal, but where we're doing it live and there's, you know, we've got everything amped up as well. There's a stupid amount of feedback coming in and noise. So like I say, it just sets the tone straight away, man. So like, I like to open on that, but it all depends on what we're playing. If we're coming in cold without another band playing in front of us, we won't do that because that's just a bit too like, yeah, fuck you, we're here.
Listen to us.
yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah. Oh, that's great. Definitely good stuff. Do you have a favorite closer or?
Nah, not really at the moment. One of the songs off this new EP, Medicine's pretty good. Like, I think it's got a nice finish to it, and it's like a better tempo as well. So, you know, I'm not saying like we should try and keep the whole set slow, but maybe build up a little bit, and that's like a decent speed as well. And it's a nice song to play. I think after you've been playing for like that amount of time, you don't want to still be ringing out notes for ages and stuff like that. It's nice to just sing something that's like a bit more like, I don't know, man. I don't want to say from the solo it's like a more personal song, but it's like it's definitely a nice one to play in terms of just how it feels on the guitar. And there's like a really nice open note within the riff as well. Like I love playing like an open guitar if I can. So like as soon as you get to that bit of the riff, you're just like, yeah, really let him rip with it. So
that's awesome. Good energy with that. Hell yeah. And then what's your favorite strain?
Man, over here it's not legal, so it's really funny. Like you'll get given a strain, but people are just making it up as they go. So like,
that was like high school for us.
100%. You're like, oh, this is like banana hash grain, and you're like, it's not banana, nor is it hash. Like, what are you guys talking about? I don't know, man. That's such. How do you choose between your favorite kids? You know, I quite like a Kush, but I'm open to anything, man. Like, I like to make my own resin as well because you can't get like nice resin over here. So make like I use like an isolator, make some nice resin
with the bags and then
exactly.
Water. Yep.
Yeah.
I love how creative they are with the names of the strains. It's just fun to see what people come up with these days. I had one the other day called Kim Kardashian.
Yeah. The fun thing is in the States it's all like legit though, so you can like go and get it from a shop and be like, oh, I know this strain's going to taste like this with this bag and stuff like that. In England, people order the bags and then stuff their weed in it, and it's just like, this is whatever it says on the bag, and like I can't be trusted, man. Like I say, it's not legal. You know, no one's importing loads of little bags of weed. It's just no one is going to do that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's my door, man. That's right. My other half's going soon.
No worries.
You're good. I've been getting my son into my oldest into drum lessons. They just got back.
Nice. So, I noticed your drum kit in the background there.
Yeah, I just got it.
Nice, man. Nice.
I'm excited. Like I just been trying to learn a little bit on myself on my own. You know, just like making noise. I'm like, all right, keep the tempo, do the same thing, you know, and like add stuff as you go. And I don't know, just been doing it. It's fun to make noise, man. It's nice. It's fun.
No, great fun, great instrument, man. Like that's actually what I started on, playing drums. But like I wasn't very good at it, to be honest, man. I ain't got that level of coordination, but
it is definitely it takes more coordination than you think, you know, because it's like, it looks easy, you're just like, you're doing this, but then you have your legs going, and then like, each thing is doing it, like each ligament is doing something different, you know what I mean?
But sometimes in the band we'll swap around. So like not live, do you know what I mean? Because I like way too much And I don't think Terry can play the bass particularly well. But like when we're doing like when we're just pissing around in the studio, like if we've got a bit of time, we'll be like, do you know what? Let's all switch and just play a song we all know.
That's fun as hell. That's awesome.
That's nice.
Do you know what I mean? And it will sound even worse than we normally do, but it's just like fun, man. Do you know what I mean? Like someone will always fuck something up and make someone else laugh.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So we're kind of at time here, but I have one more question I ask everyone who comes on the show. Brandon loves this one. If you were stranded on a desert island and you had a solar-powered Discman and 3 CDs to listen to until you got rescued, what would you want to have?
Oh man, that's a really difficult one. I mean, I'd have to pick a Nirvana album, but I don't think I'd go with Nevermind. Although it's got some great tracks on there and it's like definitely inspirational, I think I'd probably take Bleach because I think that's when you could get more out of multiple listenings. You know, and I'd probably be listening to it a lot, right? I take Life is Peachy, Korn, for sure.
Nice.
Again, that's definitely one of them, man. Like, I'd be swayed towards Follow the Leader, but yeah, definitely Life is Peachy. And then, I don't know, man. I'd want to fit an Malvin's album maybe in there as well. I think you get a lot of money for your listening there, but I don't know which one I pick. Because there's so many. Big fan of the Malvins, man, but they've been around for so long.
Yeah, it's a big discography.
Yeah. Or would I take something else? I think maybe get some electronica in there, man. But like, I think you get bored of that after a year as well.
A year is it's a long time.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably starve to death. I don't know how much. Yeah. When you say it's all about, that's like one of my survival songs, man. What's the one with Abortion Technician from Malvin's.
Oh,
that's definitely one of their newer ones, but mostly because I haven't listened to it too much as well. But I also really like Don't Forget to Breathe, and I heard that, so I saw them live like a couple of years back. I think it was when that was coming out, when like Jeff Pincus had joined them. So like, yeah, I think I'd do something a bit more alternative as well, you know.
Awesome. That's a good spread.
Yeah, it is.
We had some people be like, here's like 3 brutal death metal albums. I'm like, you want nothing else? Like, nope, I'm good. I'm like, all right.
I would like to cross genres, man, but you cut me down to like 3. What can I do? Like, you know,
yeah, it's tough.
At heart, I like my guitar music.
We've had some sneaky guests who like, can I do like a compilation album? I'm like, I never said you couldn't, so I guess you can. Like,
that's lazy.
I always went for soundtracks, like, you know,
soundtrack too. Yeah,
like the Korn soundtrack was it's good. It's got a couple sleepers on it, but it's good, you know.
I choose now. That's what I call metal 90s. The best compilation.
Top of the Pops, 1983, Volume 2.
Exactly. Teen hits.
I actually remember that show because we had that in New Zealand and Australia when I was young, and there was some. You're right. There was some very atrocious stuff on there.
Dude.
Awesome. Well, that kind of brings us to time. So one more thing to ask you: if people want to check out the music, want to follow the band, support you guys, what's the best way to do that?
Oh, thanks, man. So definitely check us out on Instagram. That's probably where we like funnel most of our following. That's where you'll get your updates and stuff like that. We sell exclusive stuff on Bandcamp. So like for albums, EP, like you mentioned, the EP we've got coming out on 5th of September, there'll be exclusive tracks there. So you can stream it other places, but you won't be able to listen to the whole EP anywhere else. And that's got non-album stuff as well. So if you don't pick it up there, you're never going to hear it. And we're also working with Doomshire Cassette Cult. And they're based in the UK as well. They're based kind of close to me, and they're doing a limited edition cassette run. And again, that's going to have some stuff on there that's going to be exclusive as well. So that's a good way to pick it up. And if you're interested in that, shoot them a message on Instagram, and we'll link to that as well. So, but yeah, keep following us on Insta because we put like codes and stuff like that on as well. So not that we're like really into selling the music, but if you wanted to pick up a copy for free, like, yeah, by the way, actually, to be honest, like people have messaged us on Insta and been like, I can't like afford this and I can't stream it or whatever, you know, people in countries with, I guess, rubbish internet. And I'm just like, yeah, man, have a code. Like, you know, I'd much rather people heard it and didn't pay for it than like, you know, had some sort of paywall or whatever. So
yeah, that's awesome. Love that mindset.
If you're interested in it's not coming through, man, just label me. I do most of the social media. So yeah, man, message me and I'll get back to you and hook you up in it.
And we'll have links to all of this in the recording descriptions, so you can find those links there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ben. It's been really fun chatting with you, honestly. Great conversation. And yeah, if you ever want to come back on the show, it's an open invitation.
Yeah, well, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Well, I mean, like I said, we're going to an album next year. Maybe follow up the release if it's going well. Like, if I had a bit more time, because like I said, we had a bunch of people in our house. I won't go through the details, but like nothing's in source at the moment. But maybe next time, man, I'll like grab a guitar and do a song or something. Do you know what I mean? I'm happy to happy to play live, man.
It'll be fun.
You know what I mean? Go old school and just shout with an acoustic and see how that pans out. You know? But...
Hell yeah,
love it.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you, and anyone who listened, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it, and we'll have another guest for you next time.
hell yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks again to